Have you ever felt like someone is watching you, even when you are completely alone? In the narrow streets of Harlem, there is a story no one dares to speak about. It is the story of a young girl walking down a familiar street. But nothing is as it seems. Shadows move as if they have a life of their own. Whispers reach her, not through ears, but straight into her mind. Something is waiting for her to turn around. Do you dare to walk with her? Every step could be the last step you ever think is safe. Darkness and silence are closing in. And the terrifying truth is drawing closer with every heartbeat. This story will take you into a fear unlike anything you have ever felt before. She walked along the familiar street. Tall buildings in Harlem reflected the cold light of the evening. The sound of cars and passing people disturbed the quiet inside her mind. A soft wind blew, making her skirt flutter along the path. The smell of food from a nearby shop drifted into her nose. But there was something musty in the air. She felt a sudden chill for no reason. Her small hands trembled as she gripped her bag tighter. The quiet corner of the street made her heart race. Shadows on the wall seemed to move. Footsteps from behind made her turn quickly. But no one was there. Only a single shadow that seemed to be staring. The calm was shattered by the sound of breaking glass. She flinched and stepped back. Her foot hit something cold and wet. Her eyes saw red on the ground. Her heart pounded as if it would burst out of her chest. She gasped and tried to step back further. But it felt like some hand was grabbing her body. A soft whisper brushed against her ear. Words she could not understand, filled with terror. She tried to pull away, but the more she struggled, the more she was drawn in. The surroundings darkened rapidly. The streetlights disappeared as if swallowed by the shadows. Her heart felt crushed with pain. Her body began to tremble uncontrollably. Then she heard laughter. A sharp, strange laughter. It felt close, yet distant. She turned around but saw no one. Only darkness and oppressive silence. Fear replaced her thoughts. She knew she could not escape. Every step felt tracked. Every sound of breathing made her heart skip. And she began to sense the terrifying truth. Her legs trembled as if made of glass. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward her, elongating and twisting unnaturally in the dim light. The street that once felt familiar now appeared alien, hostile, and alive. She could hear the distant hum of traffic, yet it felt muffled, as though a heavy veil separated her from the world. A sudden gust of wind rattled the fire escape above. She jumped and pressed herself against the brick wall, heart hammering. The smell of dampness and decay grew stronger. It mixed with the faint metallic scent of blood, sharp and unmistakable. Her stomach churned, and nausea clawed at her throat. Her ears caught another sound, subtle but terrifying. A faint shuffle behind her, almost synchronized with her own heartbeat. She stopped moving, willing herself to be silent. Every breath felt loud in the oppressive stillness. Her eyes darted to every dark corner, searching, panicking. Then a sudden movement. Out of the corner of her eye, a shadow flickered across the street. It was fast, almost too fast to be real. She blinked, and it was gone. But the feeling of being watched intensified. Her skin prickled as if tiny invisible fingers were brushing along her spine. She started walking, slowly, deliberately, hoping to reach the main avenue. Her shoes clicked against the cracked pavement. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the darkness was pressing down on her. The streetlights above flickered, momentarily plunging her into total darkness. When the lights returned, she felt closer to the shadows, as if they had shifted nearer while the world blinked. The whispering came again, soft, cold, and almost intimate. Words she could not understand, yet they sent icy fear crawling through her veins. She covered her ears, tried to run, but her feet felt rooted. It was as if the street itself had conspired to hold her in place. Suddenly, a shape emerged from the darkness. It was tall, impossibly thin, and its form wavered, as if not fully solid. Her breath caught in her throat. She wanted to scream, but her voice refused to come. The shadow drifted closer, and she could feel its presence pressing into her mind. A cold dread filled her, sharper and more tangible than anything she had ever felt. She stumbled backward, her hand hitting a puddle. The water was icy, and it splashed, revealing a reflection. But it was not her own. In the distorted surface of the puddle, she saw a face staring back at her. It had hollow eyes, wide and unblinking. The mouth stretched into a grin far too wide, teeth too sharp, almost gleaming in the dim light. Her knees buckled, and she fell to the ground. The shadow loomed above her, and she could feel its weight pressing down, not physically, but in her chest, in her very bones. The whispers became a chant, repeating her name in a voice that was not human, yet terrifyingly familiar. She tried to crawl away, dragging herself across the rough pavement, but the street seemed endless. A sudden screech of tires echoed in the distance. It should have brought relief, but instead it only intensified the fear. The sound seemed to echo from every direction, surrounding her, closing in. She felt the shadows move with the sound, bending and twisting toward her. Panic took over her body completely, muscles trembling, heart hammering, mind screaming. Then she saw it, a door in the wall of a building that she had never noticed before. It was old, wooden, with peeling paint, almost hidden in the shadow. Something inside her told her to run toward it. Instinct overpowered fear, and she scrambled to her feet, sprinting toward the door. The shadows surged behind her. Her hands fumbled with the rusty knob, finally pushing it open. Inside was darkness deeper than outside, yet somehow she felt momentarily shielded. The whispering continued, though muffled now, like it was pressed against some invisible barrier. She dared a glance behind her. Nothing, only silence and the distant hum of the street. Her chest heaved, sweat and tears mingling on her face. She leaned against the door, trying to calm her racing heart. The air inside smelled of dust, decay, and something faintly sweet, like overripe fruit. Then she heard it, a sound from deeper within the building. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, echoing against the wooden floorboards. They did not belong to any human she knew. Each step seemed to resonate with her very bones. Her ears rang with the rhythm, each beat matching the pounding of her heart. She wanted to move, to flee, but her legs felt paralyzed. A shadow materialized from the far end of the hallway. It had no clear shape, yet she recognized it. It was the figure from the street, taller, more solid, with that impossible grin. Its eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, and it extended a hand toward her. Fear and disbelief battled inside her. She wanted to scream, to plead, to run, but her voice would not form. The hand drew closer, and she felt the air chill, her breath condensing into visible clouds. Every instinct told her to fight, but every muscle refused to obey. She realized, with a sickening clarity, that she was trapped. Then the whispering became clear. It spoke directly into her mind. Words she understood now, not spoken but implanted. You cannot leave. This is your home now. The shadows closed in. The darkness pressed against her, tight and suffocating. And in that moment, she understood the truth. She had never truly walked alone in Harlem. Every street, every shadow, every corner had been watching her. And now, the city had claimed her. Her scream finally broke free, echoing down the empty hallway. But it went unanswered. Only the whisper remained, soft, cruel, and eternal. And she knew she would never walk the streets of Harlem again. The shadows slowly receded, melting into the corners of the hallway. The whispering faded into silence, leaving only the faint hum of the city outside. She sank to the floor, trembling, trying to catch her ragged breath. Her body ached, her heart still racing, but the immediate terror had passed. A small, dim light appeared at the end of the hallway. It was soft, warm, and strangely comforting. For the first time, she noticed the dust motes floating gently in the glow. The air felt lighter, the chill in her bones slowly easing. She rose unsteadily, drawn toward the light. Each step felt cautious, yet steady, as if the building itself was allowing her passage. Her eyes adjusted, and she saw a narrow doorway leading outside. Beyond it, the streets of Harlem looked familiar again, bathed in the first hints of dawn. She stepped through the doorway. The morning light touched her face, soft and real. The city was alive with sounds of life, birds, distant traffic, footsteps. And though the memories of the shadows still lingered, they no longer held power over her. She walked slowly, feeling the cool morning breeze against her skin. For the first time in hours, she felt hope. The streets were the same streets she had always known, yet she knew she had changed. Something in her had survived, something strong and unbroken. A gentle warmth settled in her chest, and she realized she had faced the darkness, and had not been consumed by it. She glanced back once, toward the doorway where the shadows had disappeared. The hallway was empty, silent, as if it had never existed. And she whispered softly, not to anyone, but to herself. I am still here. I am still me. With that, she walked on. The city welcomed her back, ordinary and alive, but she carried within her a quiet strength, a knowledge of the darkness, and the courage to keep moving forward. Harlem was her home, and she had reclaimed it. The girl from Harlem was no longer afraid. If you want, I can also combine this with the